Hello students, welcome back to your class. In the previous discussion, we have studied reproductive system, in which we studied male and female reproductive system in detail. We have studied the process of gametogenesis, that is formation of gametes, and then fertilization, that is fusion of sperm and egg. After that, we have discussed the whole 9 months development of an embryo, that is the gestation period. So, in the previous class, we have also started a new topic, that is nervous system. We looked at the classification of nervous system, that is the human nervous system is divided into two parts. First of all, CNS, that is central nervous system, which comprises brain and spinal cord along with their nerves. And the second part was PNS, that is peripheral nervous system, in which two types of nerves lies. First one, sensory nerves, second, motor nerves. Sensory nerves senses the external stimuli and send these stimulus to the CNS, that is central nervous system, and motor nerve transfers stimulus from CNS to corresponding organs. Then PNS was further divided into somatic and autonomic nervous system. Today we will discuss all these parts of CNS and PNS in detail. So let's start first of all with brain, that is the most important part of central nervous system. It is a central information processing organ in which the brain acts as command and control system, that is it commands the body to react according to the environmental stimulus. So it is the command and control system of the body. Various activities of body are monitored by brain, just like functioning of voluntary organs, like functioning of your muscles, your hands, your feet. Then thermoregulation, that is temperature control of body, is also monitored by brain. Then balance of body, that is your muscles of feet and hands, are also balanced by brain. The functioning of smooth muscles, that is involuntary organs, are also regulated by your brain. So it is a central information processing organ. Your hunger and thirst, your temperature of body, your sleep wake cycle, that is the biological clock, rhythm of your cycle is also maintained by the brain. Apart from these functions of voluntary and involuntary processes, it is a site for processing of vision, hearing, speech, memory, intelligence, emotions and behavior. So let's start this complex organ, that is brain. The weight of brain is approximately 1.5 kg. It is protected by a cranial box made up of bones. CSF. CSF is a fluid present in brain. CSF is cerebrospinal fluid which protects the brain from various shocks, and it also provides buoyancy. Buoyancy is a force which acts upward by a fluid on the body. So by the force of buoyancy, the downward gravitational force on brain decreases, and that's why the weight of brain, that is 1.5 kg, decreases to 0.18 kg by the help of CSF, that is the cerebrospinal fluid. It is a clear fluid and alkaline in nature, that is CSF is basic in nature. So now there is a classification of brain for the study purpose. Brain is divided into three parts according to the position. First of all, forebrain, that is frontal part, then midbrain, that is the middle part of brain, then comes hindbrain, last part of brain. Forebrain was further divided into three parts. First of all, cerebrum, then diencephalon, third one is olfactory lobe. Midbrain composed of corpora quadrigemina. Word corpora is cells lobules, and quadrigemina is number 4, composed of 4 lobes, that is corpora quadrigemina. Then hind brain composed of 3 parts, pons, cerebellum and medulla oblongata. We will discuss these structures in detail one by one. So let's start first of all with cerebrum. Cerebrum is the major portion of brain. Approximately 80 to 85% part of brain is composed of cerebrum. A longitudinal groove is present between the cerebrum, which divides the cerebrum into 2 parts, left and right cerebral hemispheres. This longitudinal groove, which divides the cerebrum into cerebral hemispheres, is also known as median fissure. These cerebral hemispheres must be connected with any one of tissue. So, now these cerebral hemispheres are connected by the thick nerve fiber, and this nerve fiber is known as corpus callosum. This corpus callosum is a mammalian character. So, corpus callosum a thick nerve fiber which connects the cerebral hemispheres. It is a mammalian character, that is, it is specifically present only in mammals. So, it is a mammalian character. So, cerebrum is further divided into 2 parts. The outer part is the cortex region, which is greyish in appearance, so also referred as grey matter. Why it is greyish in appearance? Because there are many neurons present in it. So, due to the high concentration of neurons, it looks greyish in appearance. So, after outer part, the inner part of cerebrum is medulla, which is also referred as white matter as compared to the outer part. Then there are 3 areas present in the cerebrum, as it is the largest part of brain. So, there are 3 parts present in it. First of all, sensory area, which senses the external stimuli. Then motor area, it generates motor messages for body's reaction. Third one is association area. It is neither pure sensory nor motor, but it's a mixture of two, in which senses and motor nerves works together, like in memory, communication and intersensory association. Intersensory association are different sensation regions which associates and interconnect with each other. So, in intersensory association, various sensory nerves interconnect and then works properly. Then comes the next structure, that is diencephalon. So, there are also 3 parts of diencephalon. First one is epithalamus, then thalamus and then hypothalamus. Epithalamus, that is the upper portion of thalamus. In biology, epi word means upper. So, it is the first part of thalamus, epithalamus, which controls sexual maturity. Then comes the middle part, which is the major part of diencephalon, that is thalamus. It is a major coordinating center, that is, it is a relay center which coordinates sensory and motor signaling. It receives all sensory inputs and then transmits it to the CNS. Then the last part, word itself reveals, hypothalamus, that is the lowermost part of thalamus. It controls body temperature. Hypothalamus is responsible for thermoregulation, that is regulating the temperature of body, and urge for eating and drinking. Urge for eating is hunger and urge for drinking is thirst. Hypothalamus also secretes some hormones. These hormones regulate the pituitary gland. The hormones secreted by hypothalamus are known as hypothalamic hormones. These we will discuss later in the endocrine system. The last part of forebrain, that is olfactory lobe. it is the center of smell intensity. And as you all know that dogs have the very well sharp smell sensing activity. So, dogs have the well developed olfactory lobe in their brain. Along with dogs, shark also have sharp smelling intensity. So, then comes the next part, that is midbrain. Midbrain receives the auditory and visual inputs, that is it hears and sees the surroundings. So, it is responsible for visual and auditory activities. Midbrain, which is divided into 4 lobes, I have told you, quadrigemina, which means 4, and corpora, which means lobes. So, the upper 2 lobes are responsible for sensation of light, that is they are responsible for visual activities. And now the lower 2 lobes, as you all know, are responsible for hearing. Then comes the hindbrain, last part of brain, that is hindbrain, in which first of all comes pons. Pons is a structure which connects the various parts of brain with the help of nerve fibers. The longitudinal nerve fibers connects the midbrain to the medulla oblongata. Pons is located between the midbrain and medulla oblongata, and vertical, that is longitudinal fibers present in pons connects midbrain to the medulla oblongata, and the transverse fibers, that is the fibers which are horizontal, connects cerebellum to the pons. So, pons are helpful for connecting the various structures of bones. Along with this function, it has one more function, that is controlling the breathing reaction. So, there are 2 functions of pons, connecting the various organs of various parts of brain and about breathing reaction. Then comes the next part, that is cerebellum. After cerebrum, it is the largest part of the brain. So, cerebellum is the second largest part of brain. Cerebellum, it is divided into 3 lobes, in which the 2 lobes are very large as compared to the third one, and these 2 lobes that are larger are known as cerebellar hemisphere. There is an unusual space present in the cerebellum which can hold many more neurons. So, it is a special type of space present in the brain which can store many more neurons. So, it is just like a storeroom of the brain. Then the most important function of cerebellum is voluntary balance, that is maintaining the body balance, maintaining the movements of feet. So, if a person takes alcohol in excess amount, then his cerebellar part is very much affected and the person is unable to walk properly, and instead he cannot even balance his own body. So, cerebellum is mainly related with the fine and skillful voluntary movements of body for body balance. Then comes the last part of brain, that is medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata is a tube-like structure which connects the whole brain, the pons to the spinal cord. It just like the cerebellum, as cerebellum controls voluntary movements, just like that medulla oblongata controls involuntary actions. So, as you know, involuntary actions are involving smooth muscles, that is for maintaining the blood pressure, for maintaining the gastric secretions which helps in digestion, respiration. These involuntary organs which are not according to our wish, but they happens in our body. So, medulla oblongata was the last part of brain which connects the brain to spinal cord. Now we will study spinal cord. It is also a part of central nervous system which is approximately 45 centimeter in length. Spinal cord is also known as neural canal, which is enclosed, totally covered and protected by a vertebral column. It is made up of bony structure, that is vertebral column. Spinal cord along with medulla oblongata controls the involuntary functions of body. So, we have discussed the central nervous system, and now we will discuss the peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system consists of nerves which connects the CNS to our whole tissues of the body. So, PNS is further classified into somatic nervous system which contains skeletal muscles, that is the voluntary organs of our body, the control of movements of feet and hands mainly. Then second one is autonomous nervous system, in which smooth muscles are involved. These smooth muscles are present in involuntary organs like heart, liver and kidney. So, again, autonomous nervous system is further classified into two parts. First of all, sympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system needs more energy. It is the part of nervous system which gets activated during the emergency situations when a person is frightened or feared by some external stimuli. Then sympathetic nervous system gets activated. And parasympathetic nervous system. This parasympathetic nervous system involved in the conservation of energy, in which in sympathetic nervous system the activity of digestion is inhibited, but during parasympathetic nervous system the activities of digestion, the secretion of gastric juices, urination and defecation takes place. So, it expends more energy, and parasympathetic nervous system conserves the energy during the resting situation. In sympathetic nervous system, heartbeat increases, rate of respiration increases. Pupil is an aperture present in our eye. Pupil is an aperture present in our eyes from which light enters, and the curvature of this aperture decides the amount of light entering in the eye. So, if pupil is dilated, more light enters and we can see properly, and when it constricts in the parasympathetic nervous system, pupil constricts, at that time little amount of light is entered in the eye. So, last part, that is neuron. Neuron is the structural and functional unit of nervous system. One neuron is connected to the other neuron by their cell processes, and one neuron to another neuron impulses are transmitted, so that the impulses transmitted from tissues to the brain and from brain to tissues. So, neuron is further divided into three parts. First of all, cell body. Cell body is like main body of the neuron, in which two processes, several dendrons and axon are present. In cell body, nucleus is present as well as many other cell organelles are present. But one special organelle, that is Nissls granule. Nissls granule is an organelle specifically present in the cell body of neurons. These Nissls granules are made up of two parts. First of all, endoplasmic reticulum, and second one is the granular structure ribosomes. So, Nissls granule is the specific part of neuron composed of ER, that is endoplasmic reticulum, and ribosomes. Then comes dendron, which is divided into several branches and receives the impulses and transmits the impulses from dendron to cell body. This transmission is centripetal, that is towards the cell body. Then the next part is axon. It is a tubular structure which transmits nerve impulses from cell body away from the cell body, that is centrifugal. At the end of the axon, there are knob-like structure present known as synaptic node, in which synaptic vesicles are present, which contains neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters is a chemical which is released in the synapse. Synapse is a gap between two neurons. Synapse is a space present between two neurons. So, in synapse, neurotransmitters are released and then the message is transmitted to another neuron. So, this was all about the peripheral nervous system and the structural and functional unit of nervous system, that is neuron. Now, we will discuss the physiology of nervous system. First of all, the sensory organs which senses the external stimuli, and then these sensory organs transmits the sensory messages to the CNS with the help of sensory nerves. Then processing happens in the CNS by our previous experiences. Then it transmits the message to the skeletal muscles and smooth muscles for the action according to the situation, and these messages are transmitted with the help of motor nerves. Endocrine system is also a coordinating system of the body which coordinates the various organs of body with the help of a chemical known as hormones. These hormones are present in very small amount in our body. These are non-nutrient chemicals. So, they have no nutritional support to the body. These are non-nutrient chemicals present in the system. So, first of all, the main endocrine gland, that is we have studied in the nervous system, that is hypothalamus. Hypothalamus regulates the body temperature and also controls over urge of eating, that is hunger, and urge of drinking, that is thirst. So, hypothalamus is responsible for thermoregulation as well as for regulating the hunger and thirst. But one more major function of hypothalamus is to control the pituitary gland with the help of various information. So, hypothalamus secretes two types of hormone. First of all, releasing hormone which induces the pituitary gland to release hormones. Second one is inhibitory hormones which inhibits the secretion, which tells pituitary gland to inhibit the secretion of various hormones. So, hypothalamus controls the pituitary gland directly, and with the help of pituitary gland it controls the other glands indirectly. So, the second one is pituitary gland, that is also known as master gland because it stimulates or inhibits the secretion of hormones in other glands. So, in other glands the first part is pineal gland which is present in the upper part of body and secretes melatonin hormone. Melatonin hormone helps in maintaining the biological clock of body, that is the sleep-wake cycle. And after melatonin, pineal gland comes thyroid gland which secretes the thyroxine hormone. This hormone maintains the basal metabolic rate of body, that is the rate of various metabolic reactions acting in our body. Third gland is parathyroid gland. Parathyroid gland secretes the hormone parathormone which increases the calcium level in the blood. So, it helps in regulating the calcium and phosphorus level in blood. In opposite to the parathyroid, thyroid gland also have one more secretion which is thyrocalcitonin which also helps in maintaining the blood calcium level. Fourth one is adrenal gland, the gland which is present above the kidney and have two secretions. First of all, epinephrine, that is adrenaline, and second is norepinephrine, that is noradrenaline. Both these hormones support in the emergency situations. That means the secretions of adrenal gland helps in controlling the emergency situations. Fourth one is thymus gland which secretes the hormone thymosin and it provides immunity to the body. So, in younger children, the size of the thymus gland is very much larger, but at the time of puberty it decreases to a very small size. So, you can say that the immunity of younger children are far more better than the older ones. Then comes the pancreas, testes and ovaries. These are the mixed gland, that is they have both part, the secretion of digestive juices as well as the secretion of hormones. Pancreas are included in the digestive system and we have discussed it there, and testes and ovaries are the part of reproductive system which we have also discussed. So, apart from the other endocrine glands, there are several more parts of the body which along with their major functions also contributes in the secretion of hormones. Mainly these are liver, kidney and heart. Liver secretes angiotensinogen. This hormone helps in maintaining the blood pressure. Then comes kidney, which secretes erythropoietin hormone which helps in the production of RBC. Third one is heart, which secretes ANF, that is atrial natriuretic factor, which decreases the blood pressure. Endocrine system works slowly, but they have long-term effect on the body. But nervous system have a quick coordination, so in emergency situations, nervous system acts more rapidly and are beneficial for our system. But for the long-term effects, we need endocrine system. So today we have discussed the nervous system, in which we studied the various classification of brain, spinal cord and PNS, and after that we studied the somatic and autonomous neural system, and at last we studied the endocrine system, which is regulated by the hormones and the associated secretions related to it. Thank you.